how the people are doing. So, well, this one, oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting, you know it, because the OnePlus 11 on one hand, an incredible flagship killer with amazing photography. That much has been made very clear. You can check out all the camera comparisons I've done with the OnePlus 11. The link is in the description, but yeah. I mean, it's a pretty definitive fact at this point, but the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Now, I'm not a fan of how the camera looks, like the module itself, very, I guess, bland in a manner of speaking, but hey, the features that it boasts, it's good, it's very promising, and I'm very excited to see what it represents in the real world when you're using the cameras, what differences it has, like authentic and vibrant modes. Definitely gotta try that out, see exactly how it goes. So let's jump right in. So we're starting off with a fairly simple shot, or at least it would appear to be so, because we're testing out the Leica authentic and vibrant modes on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Now this right here is the authentic mode, which is supposed to give you very natural looking colors. The irony of this is that the OnePlus 11, it may have a little bit more vibrance overall, but the white balance is perfect on the OnePlus. This was taken sort of during sunset, so the warmth that we are getting in the pavement and even in the leaves is very accurate. While the Xiaomi, it is definitely cooling things off a touch too much. As for the vibrant mode, well, I'm not the biggest fan of it, at least for this shot, because as you can see, it is completely neutralizing all of that warmth that we were supposed to get from the sunset, and it looks very clean. It has a lot of contrast. It's a punchy image, no doubt, and if you don't mind the slight shift in white balance, maybe you'll not mind the look on the Xiaomi, but personally, I like the OnePlus a lot more here. So, after looking at that, I thought maybe, yeah, the Leica authentic, it just makes sense, and then I took a backlit shot, as you can see. And I mean, this is a pretty slam dunk win for the OnePlus, isn't it? And it got me thinking, like, the Xiaomi 13 Pro should not have this terrible dynamic range. I mean, it should perform basically as well as the OnePlus 11. So, I mean, the idea that I got was crazy. Like, it should not be the case, but it apparently is. What I'm talking about is that if you switch to like a vibrant mode on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, you get better dynamic range. I know it makes no sense, and I just thought of trying it. I didn't really think it would give me any reasonable results, but it did. You can see the dynamic range is perfect on the Xiaomi this time around. The colors, not so much. The sun looks weird. The yellow is not quite accurate. It should be more orangish like on the OnePlus. So I guess you should stick with like a vibrant for good dynamic range. It's an odd thing to say, because usually color modes are not supposed to make a difference. Here's another backlit shot. And yeah, the Xiaomi has had some issues with color accuracy. I mean, it's pretty clear that this was during late sunset, and the OnePlus is doing a fantastic job with color accuracy. And that's one of the things that really impresses me on the OnePlus. It's the sheer consistency of it. The white balance is perfect, and yeah, sometimes it can give you more vibrant results than what was 100% realistic, but it's still better than what we're getting on the Xiaomi, which look just weird. The colors especially, I mean, the brickwork color, it is completely and entirely off. I'm not even sure what is going on with that. This time we are using the ultrawide cameras. I know the angle is a little bit off, but regardless, I'm using the Leica authentic once again. And the one thing that I like about the authentic is that it does manage to get natural colors. I mean, the sky looks perfect on the Xiaomi. But of course, we're getting no detail in the shadows, which it still blows my mind as to why the Leica authentic mode just completely crushes shadows. Because simply put, if you use Leica vibrant in this case, as I'm doing now, you can see we're getting a lot more detail in the shadows. A lot more of the colors in the shadows are being boosted up, which is exactly how HDR processing should work. But the colors have shifted, and honestly, I'm very torn about this situation with the Xiaomi. The colors are looking better on the Leica authentic mode, while the HDR processing works better with Leica vibrant. So, what Xiaomi really needs to do is update their software and just give us a middle ground that works best for both ways. Here's another ultrawide shot once again with Leica vibrant, and I'm gonna stick with Leica vibrant because I think that dynamic range preservation should be more important. And another thing that was a pretty significant difference between the two is detail preservation. So as you can see, when we crop in all the way to 500%, the Xiaomi has significantly better details and way less over sharpening as opposed to the OnePlus 11. Yes, the OnePlus can be very consistent with white balance, and the colors are near perfect most of the time. Even right now, the white balance is perfect on the OnePlus, not so much on the Xiaomi, but the detail preservation undoubtedly is better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. But hey, no phone is perfect, And right here you can see that the OnePlus is completely screwing up with the white balance. It is warming everything up way too much. I mean, it looks crazy almost. The Xiaomi is cooling things off a bit too much, but it is closer to accuracy, believe it or not. And we are also using the 2x zoom options on both phones. Now, I'm not really sure why Xiaomi even gives us the option for a 2x zoom toggle. I mean, that's, you know, we actually have the option for 2x zoom in the photo UI, so I'm not really sure why that's the case. It's not sensor crop or anything like that, so, you know, ideally you don't even want to use that. What you do want to use is a 3.2x zoom. That is optical zoom, and it gives really nice detail. The overall sensor quality and the detail preservation with that, it is very nice. Once again, the Xiaomi is cooling things off a little too much, but compared to what's happening on the OnePlus, and it happened a lot. I took quite a few photos here because it looked crazy on the OnePlus, but yeah, the Xiaomi is definitely doing a better job in this case. Moving on to 5x just to test out the overall detail preservation, and Xiaomi can preserve a lot of detail. I mean, this 3.2x zoom on that, it does have farther optical zoom, so obviously it can preserve a lot of detail, but compared to the OnePlus, it looks drastically better in this case. Similar story with 10x. You know, 10x looks very, very usable on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. And yeah, it's a bit darker, it's crushing the shadows a little, but it looks 10 times better than the OnePlus 11 in this case. You know, the OnePlus, it doesn't really have the sharpness, it has a lot of artifacting, it has a lot of warmth. I mean, I'm not really sure what's going on with the OnePlus here at this point. Moving on though to high resolution, and yeah, in this case, there are certain things to keep in mind. First and foremost, I do think that the OnePlus looks a little bit more color accurate in terms of the overall colors, the color tones mostly. The Xiaomi on the other hand, it has pretty high contrast, which personally I like a lot. If you know anything about me, you know that I am a pretty big fan of high contrast shots. But this is high res, and at 500% crop, the Xiaomi takes a massive lead. I mean, this is an insane amount of difference for the exact same resolution. That's what blows my mind more than anything else here. It's this a fact that the same resolution is yielding this type of result. It just goes to show how much better detail preservation we have on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. And you know, it makes the high-res modes very legitimate and useful. With the ultra-wide camera, of course, we get 48 megapixels on the OnePlus and 50 on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. But the detail preservation, yeah, that is a very different story. We do not see just a mere 2 megapixel difference, how much I can tell you right now, because Xiaomi, once again, it looks impeccable. There's no over sharpening happening. The processing just takes full advantage of that sensor, and I'm not even sure if there is indeed a massive difference in sensor quality or not, but whatever the case is, the Xiaomi is pulling ahead by a lot here, as if that wasn't enough. The Xiaomi 13 Pro gives us 50 megapixels with its 3.2x zoom. I did match the zoom levels on the OnePlus as well to 3.2x, but of course it doesn't have any high-res options or anything as such, so there's not really much to expect. As you can see, the Xiaomi just pulls ahead by leagues. So, daylight photos have had a lot of differences, ups and downs, I guess, because there's a lot to consider here. The high resolution, the white balance, also the way dynamic range works, especially on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Yeah, a lot to consider. But then what about selfies? Well, in this case, I think the Xiaomi pulls ahead by a lot, not just because it has high contrast, but it lets you shoot at a full-blown 32 megapixels, which gives us definitively better detail preservation, and it has a much wider field of view as opposed to the OnePlus 11, so quite a few advantages happening here. But then I took a backlit shot, and yeah, this is pretty unfortunate because neither are doing a good job. Both of them look way too faded, and you know, the contrast it's just not there. Honestly, I guess the OnePlus is doing a slightly better job. It looks just, I guess, 1% less processed. That's really all I can say here, because I'm not a fan of how either of these look. Unfortunate, but here are some selfie portraits, and in this case I think both are doing a pretty neck and neck job. Both look pretty damn fantastic. You know, overall I'm not really complaining here. I guess the skin tones are a bit more saturated on the Xiaomi if I were to really nitpick for some differences, but I don't really mind it. It still looks pretty damn accurate to me. But then, the backlit selfie portrait, now this is where things really turn around. I thought it would be very similar to what we saw with the selfie, and that's not the case, at least not on the Xiaomi. The OnePlus, it does have some contrast. It's not as bad as the backlit selfie we took, but the Xiaomi looks perfect. This is exactly how you want a backlit selfie portrait to look. Yes, it's blowing out the highlight in the background, but no one really cares about that because you're taking a selfie portrait. the subject needs to look perfect, and it does on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, in this case at least. The OnePlus, it is kind of, in a middle ground. It has some of the highlights preserved, whilst also not nearly as much contrast as I would personally prefer when it comes to selfie portraits. So my choice would go to the Xiaomi here any day. But then, when we take a night mode selfie, the OnePlus pulls ahead. It has better detail, better skin tones, and I mean the overall colors look far better. The Xiaomi, it has a very odd and desaturated look, and all I can say at this point is that it's just going back and forth so damn much that even I'm having a hard time keeping track. And so let's just move on and go for the regular portraits. In this case, I think the OnePlus is doing a slightly better job. I'm mostly saying that because I prefer the skin tones. I think the Xiaomi looks a little too yellowish, but the OnePlus also has a lot of magenta tones just seeping into the shadows, like you can see it in my t-shirt, maybe a little bit in my hair as well. That the Xiaomi is handling a little bit better as opposed to the OnePlus, so I'm kind of torn on this, to be entirely honest. But then for a backlit portrait, now in this case, I kinda like the Xiaomi a touch more, simply because of slightly higher contrast, and the overall skin tones look a little bit more pleasing to my eyes. I think it looks a little too bright and almost whitened, especially my face on the OnePlus 11, that I'm not the biggest fan of that. Now for zoomed in portraits, I would say both are doing a pretty good job. In terms of white balance, however, I do think that the OnePlus is a little too warm, while the Xiaomi 13 Pro isn't warm enough. If there was an accurate spot, it would be right in between, if you want to think about white balance particularly. But otherwise, I think both are doing a pretty good job. I like the slightly higher contrast on the Xiaomi. It's very mild. You gotta really nitpick to see that difference, but it is higher contrast, and you know me, I like my high contrast. This one right here is backlit, and once again, I do prefer how the Xiaomi looks. And yes, the white balance difference for the most part stays the same. The OnePlus is a bit too warm, the Xiaomi not nearly enough. But for the most part, the contrast alone, it looks so much better, so much more natural on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. That's what I really appreciate in this case particularly, because OnePlus, it looks a little too processed in many areas, and the excessive warmth just takes me out of it entirely. But then for night portraits, as you can see, it's not exactly an easy situation now, is it? But yeah, now the Xiaomi is pulling ahead. So here's a gist when it comes to selfies and portraits. It goes a little back and forth. In selfies, I do prefer the Xiaomi. In selfie portraits, I prefer the Xiaomi. In selfie night mode, I preferred the OnePlus because of much better colors. In terms of normal portraits, I think it was a bit of a mixed bag, but because of just how warm and low contrast OnePlus looked in certain situations, I preferred the Xiaomi. In night portraits as well, I do prefer the Xiaomi, so I guess for the most part, the Xiaomi does pull ahead, but once again, I do gotta stress this. It is going back and forth a lot. So finally, let's take a look at night mode, because man, this is quite the comparison. Alright, so here, another very interesting thing right here. This also involves the Leica Authentic and the Leica Vibrant modes once again, but things may not be as you would expect, because it surely wasn't as I had expected either, because in this case, I like how both of them look. I prefer the OnePlus a little bit more because of slightly darker sky. That's it. It's a very minor difference, and I am using the Leica Vibrant on the Xiaomi. But then I switched over to the Leica Authentic, and guess what? The Leica Authentic on the Xiaomi 13 Pro darkens the night sky. I mean, it makes no sense as to why it would particularly darken the night sky without actually changing anything else all that much. Hell, if anything, it actually produces more contrast, and that looks incredible on the Xiaomi here, as opposed to the OnePlus 11, which kind of looks flat if you think about it. So yeah, the Xiaomi is doing an incredible job with Leica Authentic once again. Here's another one, slightly darker situation. As you can see, both look pretty damn good here. Very clean, very nice result on both, no doubt about that. But we are using Leica Vibrant on the Xiaomi once again. As you can see, pretty bright, grey looking night sky as opposed to the OnePlus, and I do think that the clouds look better on the OnePlus as well. But then I switched over to the Leica Authentic, and yeah, the white balance isn't quite as accurate as on the OnePlus because there was some warm street light coming in on the trees, so it's very accurate on the OnePlus, but that night sky looks beautiful on the Xiaomi. It almost looks like a vignette is happening, but that happens a lot anyways, and it looks darker and the contrast is really nice. Personally speaking, I really like darker night skies while also preserving the detail and brightness in the foreground. So that's just kind of what I want to gravitate towards. If you don't like it, just use like a vibrant. That was the one, right? Yeah, like a vibrant. It is confusing, let me tell you right now. And amongst all of this, as if it wasn't confusing enough, the detail preservation turns out is better on the OnePlus 11 at night. The Xiaomi actually performed better in terms of overall detail preservation during the daytime, so at night, the OnePlus takes over. Here's another shot, very difficult as you can see, and I use like authentic. I personally, it's an easy choice for me. The Xiaomi 13 Pro takes it. It does have some shadows that are just a touch more crushed, but you could very easily attribute that to higher contrast because it looks very nice and very pleasing on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, especially the dark night sky that we're getting. Huge fan of that. The OnePlus, on the other hand, it does give you an overall brighter image, so maybe if you prefer that, go for it. As for the ultra-wide cameras, well, I'm gonna stick with Leica Authentic because, you know me, high contrast, darker night skies, that's something I'm always going to gravitate towards. But now, you know the difference. And in this case, I like the high contrast on the Xiaomi, but if you look very close, like straight down the middle, you'll notice that the few lights indoors, they are being blown out on the Xiaomi as opposed to the OnePlus, which is preserving them. So I guess, technically speaking, the OnePlus is doing a better job in terms of the dynamic range. Now this shot right here, this is probably going to be controversial because, man, as much as I feel the OnePlus is better in terms of the overall look of the image, the white balance, the control over the saturation, I cannot help but just constantly stare at the Xiaomi 13 Pro because it looks incredible. And yeah, it is sort of overdoing the warmth. It is a little too saturated. There's a lot of orange hues coming on the road and from the streetlights and all that jazz, sure, but the contrast is so beautiful. There's just something about it that I cannot get over. So as much as technically the OnePlus should take an easy win, and it does, sure, from a technical standpoint it does, but my personal preference here, it goes to the Xiaomi 13 Pro any day of the week. Here's another ultra-wide, and this isn't quite as challenging, and as you can see, both are doing a very good job. If anything, the Xiaomi is actually doing a really good job with the white balance. We get a lot of the warmth being preserved from the streetlights, while the OnePlus, not quite as much. I mean, it's very, very close. But once again, the one thing that I love about the Xiaomi is just, it has such a beautiful night sky. It's dark, it looks very accurate, and exactly like it was taken during the nighttime, while the OnePlus looks very bluish. And now, finally, we have, of course, the zoom shots. Now, the 2x zoom on the OnePlus, it doesn't really work well at night. I mean, you can see it from here. It is extremely over-sharpened, and very clearly it is using the main camera to just crop into 2x. That's it. The Xiaomi 13 Pro, on the other hand, it seems to be using its optical zoom camera because 3.2x zoom, if it cropped in all the way to that from the main camera, the result would be horrendous. And that's not the case here. You're getting almost no over sharpening whatsoever. It looks very nicely detailed, very clean, and yeah, zoom shots at night, the Xiaomi definitely takes it. Also the white balance, perfect on the Xiaomi as opposed to the OnePlus, which is really trying to neutralize all of that warmth that was coming in from the streetlights. So yes, Xiaomi is also more accurate in this case. Wow, this is, yeah, undoubtedly is gonna be a very long one. So let's it's just hard to say at this point. The Xiaomi is, it's almost like a wild card in a manner of speaking. You use it right and you can get insane results, but you don't use it right and you're gonna wish not buying that device. That's kind of how I feel at this point, because we have had so many photos that were just breathtaking, and for me at least, they were incredible. But there were also so many areas where it was very inconsistent, and that's, I think, the biggest flaw at this point. And on the surface, you don't really expect the Leica Authentic and the Leica Vibrant modes to just influence dynamic range and the absolute contrast that you get, especially with the crazy differences during the day and nighttime. So here's my breakdown. During the daytime, for the dynamic range, use Leica Vibrant. For nighttime photos, use Leica Authentic if you like the dark night skies, which any day of the week, that's gonna be the one for me. So, with that said, I think we have dragged this along long enough because there's really been a lot to break down here. There's just so much going on with the Xiaomi 13 Pro. I'm absolutely in love. And well, I'll be seeing you guys with many more comparisons to come real soon. Cheers.